And as you can see, I'm correctly enrolled to the second factor authentication. Let's test that. I will disconnect from my account and I will log in again. So as you see, they say that something went wrong. It's normal. Why? Because there is an error that occurred. Just let's check on our code. Let's now display what is going on here. Let us display the response. Okay. When I'm trying to log in, I see an error here. They say off multi-factor authentication required. So everything is set up correctly. Now let us handle this error. We'll get back into our code and let us create another function. And this function will create an async function and we'll call it handle multi-factor authentication. You will get a response that is any, and I will verify if the response that code equal to, I can copy past this, or there is something went wrong. We have to check in this time. We have to check if the error code is this. Now verify the second factor authentication. We can send to the user now a code. We are going to create inside of our authentication file another function, an async function, and we will call it verify user second factor, verify user multi-factor authentication. So what this function will take as parameter, this function will take the error, okay, it will be a multi-factor error, and the reCAPTCHA verifier, the application verifier, and selected index. So when you have this error, you should select the second factor authentication you have set. But in our case, we will use just the first one, that will be the phone number. But let me create that. Here inside of the function, what you are going to do, we are going to get our resolver, get multi-factor resolver, and inside multi-factor resolver, what you are going to pass is the off and the error. Okay. Here is get multi-factor resolver from Firebase off. Okay. If the resolver int on the selected index that factor ID it equal to phone multi-factor generator.factor ID. So what you are checking here, we are checking if the user has set the phone number as his second factor authentication. And if it's that, you have to create a phone info option. Inside the info phone option, we are going to create some information, multifactor int. Okay, inside multifactor int, what you are going to pass will be resolver int selected index. Okay, and the second option will be the session, and the session will be the resolver dot session. Okay, great. We have to get the phone of provider. It will come from our phone of provider, and we pass the of we created before, and we are going to execute the function here. We are going to take again the verification ID, and we will await for the phone of provider that dot verify the number. What you are going to do is to pass the phone option, info option, if the reCAPTCHA verifier, and we will return the verification. We call it verification ID. We return the verification ID and the resolver. So if, let me correct that. So here it will be a promise of false or verification ID as a string and a resolver as a multifactor resolver from Firebase. It's verification ID, or we can just say it can be void. Okay, now we can get back here. So we are going to get our response from verifier user multifactor authentication. Inside, what you are going to pass here, I can call it data to avoid any collision, and here we are going to pass the response. We are going to pass the second step will be the reCAPTCHA. We have to create our reCAPTCHA here. What you are going to do, we are going to create our reCAPTCHA. Let me create a div with ID sign in. Let us create a reCAPTCHA here. reCAPTCHA is going to use reCAPTCHA, and I will take this sign in and I will give that there. Okay, and here I will use reCAPTCHA, and the index will be 0. So I have just to check that the reCAPTCHA is not now. Okay, to check that the reCAPTCHA is set. After that, here inside, what I'm going to do is to check if data is false. And if it's false, I have to notify my user that something went wrong. Okay. In the case that everything works well, I can now destructure my data. I will get a verification ID and the resolver. What I'm going to do, I'm going to create two states. The first one, I will call it verification ID. The second, I will call it resolver. Let's do that now. I'm going to create two states. Verification ID and set verification. Let me just write correctly. Verification ID and set verification ID. There are state, use state, it is string. Okay. And resolver, set resolver, it's a state and by default will be undefined, but the type is multifactor resolver. Great. So here what I have to do is to set verification ID by verification ID and set resolver as resolver. If we don't get this error, we have to display to the user that something went wrong. Let's do that here. Else, I have to send a notification, something went wrong. So in our case, we'll be able to receive a code, and after that we have to create another component that will help the user to provide the code he has received on his phone number. So let's create the component. We'll call it code sign-in, and here we will display this login if there is no verification ID and there is no resolver. Okay, I'm going to display the login page, but in our case, if we have a verification ID and we have a resolver, we are going to create a code sign-in. Let's create first that component. We'll call it code sign-in. Code sign-in. Export function. And get back here and call code sign-in. Okay. What code sign-in will require? It will require the verification ID and the resolver. Cool. Go to the code sign-in and create a type. It will be multifactor resolver, and the verification ID will be a string. Take verification ID and resolver. Let's now build this page. We are going to integrate the code component, the component that's helping us to get the code information, and we are going to create an async function, and we'll call it getCode. And the code will be a string, and inside of the code we are going now to check if the user filled the correct code. Okay, we are going for that to create another function to our authentication file. Let's create that function. We'll call it will be an async function. We'll export first the function, async function. We'll call it verify user and wallet. This function will take into its parameter two information. The first information will be the verification of the multi-factor authentication. It will be verification ID, that is a string, and the resolver, that is a multi-factor resolver. And the second parameter, it will be the verification code, that is a string. Okay, and inside of our function, we are going to distract our verification, and we get the verification ID and the resolver. After that, we are going to get the credential, inside that credential we are going to execute phone of provider, that credential, and inside we are going to put the verification ID and the verification code. I'm going to get the multi-factor assertion, that is the result of phone multi-factor assert generator dot assertion, and we are going to get credential. So if we are going to execute the resolve signing, it will take into parameter multi-factor assertion, and if everything is going well, we are going to return true. Otherwise, we are going to catch the error and to return false. Get back to our code signing. Now we can execute this, we can continue with this function. Okay, so we are going to get the response from this method, verify user and wallet. Inside this method, we are going to pass the verification ID and the resolver, and the second parameter will be the code. If the response is true, we are going to redirect our user to the user page. For that, let's first get the instance of the router from user router of Nextjs, and here we are going to use await the router that push user page. Otherwise, we are going to notify the user that something went wrong. So let's test this into our navigator. Okay, As you see, they say something went wrong again. What you have to do here, instead of just writing something went wrong, we need to call handle multi-factor authentication and to get back the response. Okay. And you have to do the same here. Cool. I'm going to repeat again. I'll refresh, I will reload my page. After that, I'll click again on login with Google. And this time, I should verify my phone number to see the code I have received. I receive a code. Let me fill the code. As everything is correct, I'm now connected. As you can see, I have completed 2 steps before to be connected. So, if I try to do the same thing with an email and password provider, I will encounter an error. That error will tell me that the email should be verified first. In the last part of this video, I will show you how to verify the user email. So the user will be able also to activate the second factor authentication. Let's continue. I will get back here. So if there is a current user and the current user have not an email verified and the current user is not enrolled yet, in that case, we have to verify his email address. What you're going to do, we are going to send the email to that email address so the user can verify his email. Let's do that. To do that, I will create a new function to my authentication first. I'll go to authentication and I will create a new function, async function, and I will call it verify user email. So I will get the user and I can send email verification to the user. If everything is okay, I can return true, but if something went wrong, I can return false. And in this case, it will be a promise boolean. Cool. So here, what we are going to do, we are going to implement a button. I've just put a button and I written verify your email. And this button, I will create a function. On click that function, I will say that is send email. Okay, let me create that function to be an async function, send email, and I will get a response. Verify user email here, and I will use current user. That's current user. In my case, I have just to check if the current user exists, so I can execute that inside. Okay, great. So if the response is true, I can notify the user that an email has been sent to your email address. Sent. It's more simple. Else, we can use notify to say something went wrong. Okay, and we are going to test this if everything is going correctly. If the user used his email and password, he will see first verify your email. After that, he will be able to see activate the multi-factor authentication. Let's try that. I will close the console log. I will disconnect. Let us create a new account. And the password. So I can see verify your email. And I have to click. An email has been sent to you. Let me check my email. So I have a new email. I will click on that. And I see this link to verify my email. And they say your email has been verified. You can now sign in with your new account. I will disconnect from this time. And I will log in into my account again. So here, nothing happened because my under submit here is empty. I have to check if my email parent and my password but current is not null. So in this case, I will execute login with email and password, and inside I will provide the email and the password. Current dot value. I will do the same here. Dot current dot value. Right. So let me check login with email and password. I have to check that here on my page if everything is correct. Yeah. Okay. Let's repeat again. Now we can click on login. You can see activate the multi-factor authentication. I'm going to activate that. I have to fill my code. My code I can fill in. and everything is set. Let me try to disconnect and to reconnect again. I can create, I can connect, I can connect into my account. And this time I have to provide the code before to log in into my account. Let's provide this code. Everything is set correctly. In this video, we have seen how to implement Firebase MultiFactor Authentication in Nextjs. If you liked this video, don't forget to subscribe to this channel and to like this video.